If you're thinking about creating your own artistic project and you're an artist, one of the things that's often top of mind in the beginning is, what is this thing gonna look like? And on a really granular level, like, what are the characters gonna look like? What is the world gonna look like? What do the backgrounds look like? How are you gonna handle drawing all the different elements of your world? The rocks, the trees, the water, everything. What do clouds look like in your style in this project? And more importantly, what does it all kind of look like together? Like, how do you really make sure that you're on the right track? It's easy to do separate character designs, do little bits and pieces here and there. What I found really useful and what I want to share with you in this video is trying to put all of this together in a prototype image, something I like to call a hero image that really ties all of these concepts together. I'm going to talk about how I did this with my Pinocchio project, and it really turned a lot of random ideas that I had into something solid and gave me that guiding light that I could use to actually see this project through. So if you've been kind of faffing about with the start of your project and not really getting it started and not really clear on what the style was going to be, I think this can be a really, really good strategy. It's really simple and I can't wait to share it with you. Alright, welcome to the Drawing Codex. My name is Tim McBurney. I've been a professional working artist for over 20 years, and on this channel, we're all about drawing cool stuff from our imagination, embracing the challenge of drawing, and mastering the craft of line and color illustration. Now, if you'd like to learn more about illustration and picture making, you can check out my free illustration mini workshop. It charts my journey going from an amateur to a professional, and I talk a lot about really important issues such as how to get more detail and polish in your work, how to plan your images, create thumbnails, and also a few thoughts on how to approach being a professional artist. As I said, it's free. The link will be in the description. Go check it out if that's something you're interested in. When I started trying to think about what the Pinocchio book would actually look like, I was kind of really contemplating a lot of different styles. The previous book that I'd done had utilized this concept that at the time was a little bit new, now is kind of pretty common, of painting the backgrounds and creating the characters in line. Now, this is a classic animation look, but I was also blending in a lot of sort of animated effects, like moving, kind of twirling magic, a lot of kind of special things that were a little bit sort of different, blending in the painting a little bit more, kind of mixing things up. And I'd kind of experimented with that. But I was also thinking about maybe moving away from that with this next project. And this is where it kind of often doesn't matter how much you've done this before. We're often just oscillating in terms of style. Now, what I kind of ended up doing with Pinocchio was a little bit of a mix where this was more line than I had kind of done with the Ara book. There's much more stuff that's drawn out. So I didn't try and paint the backgrounds of anything that was kind of a hard surface object, but anything that was like a tree or clouds or things that I felt like would benefit from a painted look, I kind of painted those. And this ended up being like quite an interesting mix of sort of styles. But in the beginning, I obviously had to design that. I had to think about like, what would that look like? Like, how would you blend different elements, some which are painted, some which are line, and exactly what would it look like? I also went for a much more clean line style. I didn't have a lot of blacks or darks here, and that was something that also I had to work with and figure out, how does that work? Like, how much shading should I put in the lines? How much painting should I put in the background? How do I kind of balance those elements, right? You know, here again, I've got some elements that are in the foreground are in line, and then the rest of this background is sort of painted. I think it works pretty well overall, and I experimented a lot. I have a lot of these water images where I kind of painted the water. I was like, well, you know, I feel like I could paint water better and it would feel more watery. So I kind of ended up with a really sort of interesting mix of these different styles that still at the time I think was sort of relatively unique. And it allowed me to kind of do some different things that I just kind of wanted to do with my art. But the problem was that getting there was a big challenge. Like, figuring out what this should actually look like, even though it's kind of obvious now, to me was a major, major problem. In the beginning, we often start with a blank slate. There's nothing there. And what we're tasked to do is to create not just the actual designs and the world that we're creating, but also the feeling that it has, the visual aesthetic, And often what you find is like subtle things about the colors you use overall across the entire project, the way that you use contrast, what tools you use to get contrast, whether or not it's tone and value or color, whether or not it's pattern or shape, like how much texture, the darkness of the work. These really can carry a huge amount of the story. Like often if your entire story is meant to be about a particular thing, if the board game that you're creating, if whatever it is, like is meant to make people feel a certain way, if you just kind of get the visual aesthetic right, then naturally it has that feeling. And this is often what great directors and artistic directors do in movies. The movie feels a particular way, and so it has a lot of personality. Now, the challenge is often finding that in the beginning, because we're frequently designing disembodied little bits and pieces, and our job is to kind of put it together. Now, if you are working in a team, you are just one little cog in that machine, and often a director or a creative director, an art director is kind of holding the big visual image in their mind, and they're trying to sort of collect little people who can kind of make it happen. As an auteur, as someone who is actually making all of it themselves, what you're trying to do is define that yourself. And I think this is one of the major tasks that we do, is to try and take all of the visual aesthetic, all of the descriptions and the story and the functionality, and kind of boil it down and make sure that just every frame of that movie, every panel of your comic, every component of whatever you're creating kind of has the right feel. And this can be really challenging, because if you kind of have two different bits that don't go together, it all falls apart. So let's look at how that process normally goes. So if I look at the creation of Pinocchio, here I've got many different little sketches that I was doing. And these are all kind of working pretty well, but figuring out what it's actually going to look like is very different. And it can be tricky to figure out exactly at what point do you do that. Exactly at what point do I turn these kind of vague pencil sketches that can have the right design feeling, the right character feeling? How do I kind of turn these into something real? So I'll show you how I kind of tend to do that. And this is using a very similar framework that you would use when you are working on a larger project, because it's the same thing. You need to create a heroic image, a keyframe, a prototype of what this thing is actually going to feel like. And this is what is going to carry us and be our sort of guiding light forward. And this is something that you obviously need to do with a larger project where multiple people are working on it. You need to make sure that everyone understands, hey, this is where we're going, this is where we're heading towards. But this is one of these things that I actually think is really key to do with your own projects, because when you're the only one who is figuring out what it looks like, it's easy to chop and change. So when I started creating the Pinocchio comic, I had this idea in my mind that I was going to create it in line. And so this was actually one of the first keyframe images that I did, one of the first sort of prototype hero images that I created for the project. I tried to create the entire thing in line work. The previous book, as I discussed, had this sort of painted background look. And I was trying to figure out, okay, like, what does this look like? So in the beginning, if you read the Pinocchio story, the original, or the translated, adapted sort of version, it's very dark. And I wanted to have that kind of graphic look to it. This was something that I felt would really add to the feeling of the story and make it, again, feel like that kind of dark fairy tale. So I was experimenting with two things. One, as I said, adding a little bit more darkness, like putting weight to my lines, which I hadn't before, and figuring out how I would create a lot of these backgrounds. And this was the first image that I came up with. And I wanted it to feel fantastical, right? That this is that classic scene where Candlewick and Pinocchio meet the coachman who takes them off to the sort of children's circus, where, again, they sort of get turned into donkeys, right? It's a very sort of cautionary tale. And yeah, I was just trying to sort of represent, like, how crazy would this be? Is this just a little cart, right? I tried to make it really big and really epic. Again, this was one of the images that stuck out to me early on, right? And I was just considering, like, what would this look like? How would I do it? But this kind of got rejected, right? Like, no one really liked this image. Another thing that I did, and this is definitely what I now would recommend, and a lot of my career advice to people is, don't do this. Don't oscillate over style. Really just kind of stick with what works for you. And instead of like trying to drastically change everything, instead just think about how your style can be modified a little bit. But I was definitely experimenting with creating the whole thing as a painted look. And this was something I wanted to explore. Don't ask me why. I think line and color is much more effective for comics, but this was one of these things I was wanting to experiment and try. Is like, how would I sort of paint the whole scene? Like, would this be interesting? I don't know whether I even actually showed this to any of the publishers, but this was just me seeing, like, could I do this? So I kind of went through many, many oscillations of thinking about what this project would look like. And I guess even though that was like a lot of work, right? And here, if we look at this thing, which was one of my sort of model sheets, you can see sort of what I ended up with, which was actually pretty similar to that painted look in terms of the backgrounds, but the characters are obviously in line. What's really allowed me to make decisions was having these different keyframes, right? Like having this one, and then having this one, and then what we sort of ended up with, even though this was far less detailed, was this. And this was at the point at which everything kind of clicked for me, and I kind of had a much more open, clean line style that was working. And this lifted the, I guess, feeling of the book, made it a little bit more childlike, sort of took some of that darkness away, which again is a choice you could make. If you look at the sort of Del Toro version of Pinocchio, like it's a lot darker. You know, it's very Del Toro, right? Like at the time, that thing did not exist. I had no idea, although it was in planning, I had no idea what that would look like. But I kind of had in my mind to make it feel a little bit more like a children's book, like a little bit more lighter and sort of fun, even though there are some very sort of dark elements in it. And so this is kind of what I ended up with. And this really was the point at which, even though this was really a prototype, I just threw these characters in and threw in a background that I'd painted before, and away we go. This background is actually primarily from the previous book that I did. And I guess here's where, though, it can be really useful, because I didn't just do one of these, I did two. And the second one I did was this one. Because what I wanted to explore was something that kind of isn't always fully described within the text, is like, how realistic was this story? Like, is this really about the fox and the cat being like anthropomorphic characters that are walking around? Sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes it kind of says that yes, they are kind of walking around upright, but I was like, is this just a normal fox and a cat? Is this like an anthropomorphic sort of cartoon character that's a fox and a cat? So I wanted to explore that. And this is where, again, we got to just quickly prototype and figure out, like, what would it feel like if this happened, right? If the cat and the fox were literal animals, like, it would make it feel much more primal, much more ethereal, much more grounded, less kind of that sort of Disney version of them just kind of walking around. And again, in the end, we sort of decided not to do that, but it's these prototypes and sort of putting it all together that really kind of allowed me to make those decisions, right? So we had this one, and once you kind of have these different versions of the project, it becomes very easy to then compare them and look at them side to side. And this is the power of a keyframe or a heroic image, is that once you really kind of figure this out, you can easily just kind of go side by side and be like, well, which one is it? Like, which one feels like the project that we want to make? Which one feels as if the character has the right amount of emotion? And I just felt as if these characters had a lot more appeal, and that, I guess, hiding a lot of the cautionary tales behind something that was a little bit lighter was, again, part of that sort of innocence that made sense to me with the project, that the story was about this kind of childhood innocence that is kind of in front of a lot of really sort of dark cautionary tales. And I liked the idea that kind of Pinocchio is just going through the world and kind of seeing this sort of very colorful, idealistic version of it, yet terrible things keep happening to him. So this is one of these ideas that may seem as if it's a little bit far to go, but I think creating a prototype, or often you would call this a vertical slice, like a chunk of your project and what it's going to feel like to actually hold it in your hands and see a finished version of it, try and make that as soon as you can. Now, maybe you need to do a little bit of design to make that happen, but it's only often when you see all the pieces come together that it becomes real for you. And once it becomes real for you, it's a lot easier to understand how it's going to happen. You always have that as a guiding light. Often with these keyframe images, we take a lot longer to do them. We really consider all the different nuances, and you're putting everything together in a way that just can't be done by doing random character designs, background designs, and these little disembodied bits. This is, I think, a fundamental part of designing and pre-production. Create a prototype for what your thing will look like. When I was creating tabletop games, this would be like a set of cards, right? Maybe there was 100 cards in the entire deck, in the entire project, but like what would it look like if there was just a couple of these cards laid out? Like what was the table presence like? How did it feel? Once you kind of have that, you can see, this is what it's going to look like. And I noticed that so many people who are trying to make their own projects are missing this, where we're kind of just stuck in that kind of planning purgatory. You're just sort of going through the motions and trying to sort of design it. And often the way out is just to figure out, like, what would this look like? What would one page, what would one panel, what would one thing look like that really represents the project? And once you kind of have all of that stuff click, so what I found, that's what I found with the Pinocchio book, then everything else was like, okay, it's just a matter of doing this, but more. And this bit more is very, very easy. If you want to see me create something that is similar to a giant keyframe hero image, you can check out this video where I go from start to finish creating an illustration before your very eyes. Other than that, we'll catch you around. Happy drawing.